Connolly for my Thursday live. Let me just make sure I am live as usual because I am technically inept, as many of you may know. But we're moving. It looks like we're going. So, wanted to jump on here, talk about obviously this market, as many of you are aware, is pretty insane, and people are trying to find every advantage possible. I may have touched on this subject previously. I'm not positive, but I think I did. Either way, I wanted to talk about sight unseen offers a little bit. And all of this, none of this is professional client advice or anything like that. Just wanted to talk about kind of the ins and outs of it and how it could be beneficial or detrimental. We're seeing a lot of delayed showings in this market. Properties coming on the market but not allowing people in for 3 or 4 days, and we've talked about the benefits of all of that and how frustrating it can be and how good it actually can be for both the buyer and the seller. Give everybody an opportunity to see that, see the house and whatnot. However, with the delayed showings and things like that, we are seeing a lot of people wanting to put sight unseen offers in to try to give themselves an advantage, or maybe they'll entice the seller to accept an offer before showing it to anybody, and all of those things. I understand the benefit as a buyer of how that could help you. However, don't be surprised if the seller is not interested in a sight unseen offer. We've talked a lot before. The standard New Hampshire purchase and sales agreement is very buyer friendly. There's a lot of opportunities for a buyer to remove themselves from a contract. There's a lot of room for negotiation after a contract and things like that when we talk about inspections. I want you to, as a buyer, I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of the seller for a second and think about what would make a seller accept your offer prior to them letting anybody else see the property, or prior to any other offers coming in. Especially in this market, most properties we know are going to get multiple offers in almost all of the scenarios. If the property is priced correctly, presented correctly, and a desirable property, it's probably going to get multiple offers. So as a seller, what would you do if you were all of a sudden presented with an offer on a Friday before showings were supposed to start on a Saturday? Maybe it's above asking, but there may be contingencies in there, be it financing, inspections, due diligence, home sale, whatever. Why would you lock your property up with that contract before seeing what the rest of everybody else is going to do? We have seen it happen quite a few times, especially at the beginning of all this craziness, where a property comes in with almost no contingencies, and the seller's psyched with it, and they accept it, sight unseen. That that makes sense. There's no contingencies. They're just saying, hey, we haven't even stepped foot inside your property yet, but we're going to pay you for this. And you like the offer, by all means, you could accept it. But when there's contingencies in there that are pretty loosey-goosey, there's not a lot of reason for a seller to accept that offer. So I want you to, as a buyer, think deeply about, is it worth me even putting the offer in? Because then put it this way, you put that sight unseen offer in, and you'd say you had an inspection contingency. You go, and all of a sudden you don't like the house. Or there's another house right down the street that comes on the market the same weekend. You don't like the house. Are you going to back out of the contract just because of that? Are you going to try to do inspections? What are you really basing your offer on if you don't know the ins and outs of the house? We've all seen the real estate photos that show a property in its best light. Property may not look the exact same when you show up on site. It may not flow right for you. On top of that, let's say you waived inspections. The seller doesn't necessarily have to let you into the house during that contract period. So you just made an offer on a property with no inspections that you haven't seen, The seller could in every right say, no, you can't come, you can't have access to the property until 24 hours before closing when you do your walkthrough or something like that. You might have tied yourself up on something that you don't want. Going back to the seller's shoes, it could, we've seen it before, it could actually turn out, maybe that sight unseen offer does work for him because we get a sight unseen offer, we have a whole bunch of showings on a Saturday and a Sunday, and no offers come in. It's only that sight unseen offer. Well, in the meantime, that sight unseen offer has seen the property, looked at it, saw the activity or lack thereof, withdrew their original offer and changed it. Could happen as well. Again, putting yourself in the buyer's shoes, you put a sight unseen offer in, they did not accept it. You show up to the open house and you're the only one there. Did you just negotiate against yourself? There's no other offers. What are you going to do at that point? So I would think there's a lot to think about when you're doing a sight unseen offer. It's not as glorious as it sounds on paper. Not as glorious as the TV shows make it out to be. There are definitely benefits to it for both the seller and the buyer. There's benefits to it for both the seller and the buyer to accept that sight unseen offer. However, things need to line up correctly for that. My general advice to the general public is take a look at the property before you make an offer on it. Let the property itself speak for itself and base your offer on that. Don't put the cart before the horse in a lot of scenarios. That's all I got to share with you today. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. To answer some of the questions that I continuously am asked, yes, I do expect inventory to pick up here a little bit. We are seeing properties come on the market on a daily basis. No, I don't expect these values to come down anytime soon. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will see y'all soon. Have a good one.